Hello students, how are you all? I hope you are all healthy and very strong in mind in this situation of current pandemic. Okay, still we are keeping a great strength within us and we continue our discussions on aphorisms. So I hope you are with me with this discussion on aphorisms. We have to go a long way till 291 aphorisms. So till now we have discussed aphorism number till 53. So before we proceed further, as usual, we would like to have a quick glance on the past few aphorisms which we have discussed. So, what is highlighted here from the aphorism number 26 onwards is about the true cure is in homeopathy according to law of nature. So all the important statement of all is this, that Dr. Hahnemann is giving us a quite a long discussion on the examples of nature, that what happens when two dissimilar diseases meet in nature and what happens when two similar diseases meet in nature. So what is highlighted here is the only point is true cure takes place in homeopathy according to the law of nature. If you see the aphorisms, how they are planned in Dr. Hahnemann's mind, is first he is giving us the idea till aphorism number 9 about the physician's mission, ideal cure, knowledges, preserver of health, causes of disease, totality of symptoms, and ninth aphorism about vital force. And then he shifts how we should understand the approach of homeopathic medicine in effecting a cure. So he gives us many examples in nature and the number of cases Dr. Hahnemann has treated with homeopathy as well as with that current system which existed at his times. So he has collected vast experience of treating the cases after he has completed his MD in 1779. And then all of you know this journey, that he was dissatisfied with the current treatment, and then in between he has left the practice and he shifted himself to the translations. Now what point I want you all to focus upon is this, that Dr. Hahnemann got vast experience of treating the cases and observations he has done with these cases, and these observations he is including in these aphorisms from 26 onwards till aphorism number 62. Okay, so the observations he is focusing on mainly two observations, that is two dissimilar disease meet in nature, which are discussed in aphorism number 36, 38 and aphorism number 40. And here in this right hand side column you can see he is discussing what happens when two similar diseases meet in nature. That is discussed in aphorism number 43. So he is noting down his observations with the aim that the reader is coming to the conclusion that only when two similar diseases meet in nature, stronger removes the weaker, and the simple correlation with the action of homeopathic medicines, how they are effecting ideal cure. So if you see left hand side, what is the discussion? The two similar diseases never cure. They exist with each other. They are new. The cures are never observed and they never cure each other. They will either suspend or they will run, the stronger will run the course and then the older weaker will again come back. And the treatment given, antipathy never cures. So remember dear students, the only two condition he is describing. He is describing and allowing us to compare it so that we ourselves arrive at the conclusion. And Dr. Hahnemann is clearly giving us step by step what happens in the nature. So in the nature, two dissimilar diseases never cure. Whereas when two similar diseases meet, cure takes place. Stronger removes the weaker. Then he doesn't stop here. He is just asking us to correlate this condition of what happens when two similar diseases meet. So he wants to correlate that how the homeopathic similimum, which is stronger and similar, is able to remove the disease. And the comparison is done. What is better? Is there a necessity of similimum then? Or is it that always that the weaker natural disease will be removed by stronger natural disease? If this is the case, then what is the necessity of homeopathic remedies? Yes, very much similimum is needed, because the stronger disease which removes the weaker. I hope you all remember our famous example, ophthalmia removed by smallpox. So here the stronger disease remains and is more dangerous. It is more fatal. Second important point is given in this right hand side column. It's not in our hand to suffer from the disease. And Hahnemann calls it as natural cures are accidental cures. And the last important point, that these natural diseases, they are conditional. So it's not in our hand to suffer from smallpox to remove the ophthalmia. See, remember, smallpox was very much pandemic at Hahnemann's time. So he is noting down the examples of smallpox and ophthalmia. Now the scenario has changed. So you must be wondering why he is talking about these diseases, because they were present at his times. So point here is that the two similar diseases meet, cure takes place, but this is not the option to cure. Only thing we have to correlate that the action of similimum is just like the action of what happens when two similar diseases meet in nature. The stronger will remove the weaker. And most important, medicines act unconditionally. They always act on all the individuals. And as the dose is in our hands, this medicinal disease, which is little stronger than the natural disease, is never fatal, never dangerous, and it is within short time it also disappears. So the two important points Hahnemann would like to tell us: what happens when two dissimilar diseases meet in nature? They never cure, which is I have put on the left hand side column. And what happens when two similar diseases meet? Cure takes place. But natural disease of similar variety cannot be the option of cure always, because they act conditionally. It's not in our hands to suffer from this disease. Moreover, so dangerous it is stronger disease is more dangerous. So that is not the option of cure. So if the phenomena in nature is acceptable, we have to accept naturally, because it's an observation. It is already taking place and Dr. Hahnemann is observing this and he is quoting us. So in nature also, the two similar diseases, the stronger removes the weaker, well described in aphorism number 26 onwards. And medicines act unconditionally, their dose is in our hands, and they produce artificial disease which is going to get disappear within a short time. So that was about revision, and the same points are carried further. So just keep it in mind, this slide very important and the basis of further discussion. So we go further with the actual discussion. It's very short discussion I have made in the very, the small presentation, so that you understand these points very well in depth. Okay, so we go to the next slide, that is aphorism number 54. And now here onwards he describes the various treatments used for curing the patients. Now what are the results Dr. Hahnemann is observing and telling us in various aphorisms. So aphorism number 54 describes allopathic method of treatment which is utilized many things against diseases. Many things means sometimes they are using purgatives, they are using cathartic drugs. Cathartic drugs means those produce diarrhea. Emetics means those produce vomitings. Diuretics means they produce profuse urination. Sometimes they are using the venisections, bloodlettings. So different methods they are using to cure. That means it is not having any foundation of any law. And these allopaths claim themselves that whatever medicine they are giving is a rational medicine. But they falsely thought that they touch the inner nature of life of healthy and sick. They just falsely thought, means they imagined that they are touching the inner nature of life. So treatment given to remove the noxious matter from patients, that is cathartics, emetics, diuretics are given. They imagine that any disease is because of accumulation of certain poisonous matter in the patient's body. So they wanted to remove it by these medicine, cathartics to produce diarrhea, emetics to produce vomitings, diuretics to produce profuse urination. They classified the diseases according to names, that is called as nosological classification. The medicines given were imagined to cure abnormal conditions. Medicines were imagined to cure the abnormal conditions. So allopathic practice, what are the highlights? They used many ways to cure the diseases. It never cured. They used various types of treatments like drugs, venisections and bloodlettings. They claimed themselves that they are using rational medicine, and they classified diseases according to the names. The medicines were imagined to cure the abnormal conditions. So now Dr. Hahnemann wants to, he wants to present before us the observations of the treatments given. Up till now, till 53, Dr. Hahnemann is presenting before us about the various diseases which the patients suffer and what happens when two dissimilar diseases meet and when two similar diseases meet. So we had already discussion on this, and now onwards 54 onwards till 62 he is describing about various methods utilized for treating the diseases, and he is noting the observations, the advantages and disadvantages. And see the method of practice of the physicians. They wanted to know the names of diseases. They were least concerned about the sufferings of the patient. They imagined and gave some type of treatment which did not have any foundation. So we proceed further. Aphorism number 55 again, describing allopathy. People learned that patient sufferings increased. The physicians learned that after giving this treatment, the patient sufferings increased. The empirical medicines gave palliative relief. What is empirical medicines? Empirical medicines means, pay attention, you have to remember this. What are empirical medicines? It means they are given in past experience and past experiments. So empirical medicines means the one generation of physician is passing the information to the second generation without experimenting at all by themselves. Just the knowledge is passed. So empirical, that is past experiences and past experiments. So it just gave palliative relief. All allopathic medicines were supported by patients because they did not have any other choice. So what is allopathy? If you see the previous slide again, that what are the various points for allopathy? They utilize different medicines, different kinds of treatment like drugs, like bloodlettings and like venesections. They just claim that they are curing, but the medicine never touched the inner nature of life. They classified diseases according to names, and they gave just palliative relief. But these medicines were supported by patients as they did not have any other choice. Okay, so shall we go to the next? That's aphorism number 56. So he is describing antipathy, enantiopathy. Again the name is given by Dr. Hahnemann. Antipathy was given by Galen. Galen was a Roman physician. Okay, way back in the 500 AD. Okay, so the Galen's teaching lasted for more than 1000 years in the European countries. So antipathy is a teaching of Galen. He has described law of contraria, that is contraria contraris curenter. All of you know that. This antipathic mode of treatment adapted by allopaths. Isopathy was also thought to give relief. It is based on law of equilia, that is equilia equilibus curenter. These are the teachings of W. Lux, that is William Lux. So I am not going to go into the details of isopathy and antipathy. All of you know this. Okay, so antipathy also didn't cure but caused trouble and aggravation. So the very important highlights of antipathy, it is the teaching of Galen. It is based on law of contraria. Now at least see, antipathy is based on the law of opposite, that is contraria contraris curenter. Simple condition, if you take the example, if patient is suffering from constipation, he is given the drug that will produce diarrhea. That is the law of contraria. And what is isopathy? It is based on law of equilia, that is equilia equilibus curenter. Okay, so for example, if we go that if patient burnt his hand, then in this isopathy, patient is the hot water is poured on this burnt hand, that is equilia equilibus. But both these methods didn't cure, but instead they caused trouble and aggravation. So we go to the next. Again, antipathy is described. A medicine produces exact opposite to the morbid symptom. It is based on law of contraria. What is the advantage? There is a speedy recovery. Means if the patient is having constipation, if he is given the drugs of which will produce diarrhea, he is relieved of his constipation. So what is the advantage? Patient got speedy recovery. Again, the examples are described. Large doses of opium to relieve pain as it benumbs the sensibility. So opium is given to relieve the pain as it benumbs the sensibility. It produces painlessness. Also for diarrhea, it produces constipation. Burnt hand is put in a cold water. Chilly patient takes hot water bath. This is antipathy. Opposite condition is produced. Opposite medicine is given which is relieved the patient. This is called as primary action of drug. So now first time Dr. Hahnemann mentions the primary action, because subsequent aphorism 63 and till 67 we will be discussing primary action and secondary action. So remember antipathy based on the law of contraria. Remember one or two examples. The large doses of opium given to relieve the pain, and it is also given for the patients of diarrhea which produces constipation. Opposite medicine given which is relieving the patient. That is about antipathy. So next aphorism 58. Again antipathy is described. What is it the result? It's a faulty symptomatic treatment. It's a symptomatic treatment. Means if patient having constipation, give the drug which produces diarrhea and vice versa. Here only few symptoms are treated. Patient feels better for short time, followed by aggravation. So primary action, patient is relieved, but then again there is a aggravation, so that the original complaints are returned in more intensity, and that you will find next time, which we described as secondary action in aphorism number 63 onwards. So antipathy is a palliation, and it is followed by again the intensity of symptoms. So antipathy is a primary action and secondary action. The old school believes on false theories, that is palliation. So in antipathy there is a primary action and secondary action. So this secondary action in antipathy is called as secondary counteraction. See, primary action, patient feels better due to opposite action of medicines. Secondary action, what happens? The previous symptoms of sufferings are increased. There is a relapse. So sleepiness is better with coffee, but after its action is over, patient feels more sleepy. Opium is given to the patient of diarrhea. It produces constipation followed by severe diarrhea. So this is a type of secondary counteraction. So first action is opposite to the patient sufferings. The patient is relieved. But as soon as the action of the drug is over, patient suffers in more intensity. So I have highlighted that old school is believing on false theories and imagination. That is called as palliation. So antipathy does palliation. So all these aphorisms Hahnemann is describing the disadvantages of antipathy. He is also giving the advantage. That what is the advantage? See the previous slide. That there is third point, speedy recovery. What is the advantage? There is a speedy recovery. So again another point given in aphorism number 60, that the antipathic doses are strong, they are hazardous. So with each increasing symptom, physician gives more stronger dose. Disease is not cured. We already saw that it causes palliation. Brousseau was a physician. He stopped giving mixtures of drugs and applied leeches to suck the faulty blood which was thought to cause disease. What is the result of this method of applied leeches to suck the blood? The patient was getting more weaker, more debilitated and exhausted. So see this antipathy, the further point is the doses are very strong, hazardous. So all these disadvantages Hahnemann is describing step by step. In each aphorism he is giving new points about the current treatment which existed at his times. So we go to the next. So antipathy never cures. Antipathy never cures. So the last aphorism of today's presentation about antipathy. So all these aphorisms we are describing antipathy. So antipathy never cures. What is the conclusion? It never cures. Because we saw it produces secondary action where patient sufferings are increased more than which was the case. So it never cures, it causes palliation. Physicians did not see, means they actually ignored, the old school physicians, the allopaths, they ignored the sad results of antipathic treatment. So Dr. Hahnemann is giving us the necessity why the true radical healing art must be found in the exact opposite of such an antipathic treatment of symptoms of the disease. As antipathy gives transient relief, transient means for a short time, aggravation is followed. Permanent cure is only with the similimum if physician used it accidentally. So Dr. Hahnemann also notes that these physicians got cure when accidentally they used the similimum. Okay, and that was a natural cure. So actually the physician practiced with the antipathic treatment given in hazardous doses. It just relieved the patient of his suffering for a short time, and the worst part that his symptoms were aggravated. So all these points I have highlighted here. And sometimes they got cure, and why they got cure? It's only because they used similimum, maybe accidentally. And this presentation, so we conclude here that what are the effects of antipathic treatment. So I end this presentation here, and we will continue the discussion next time. Thank you.